What if Christopher Columbus hadn't discovered America? Throughout history, some events have completely changed the course of humanity. Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas in 1492 is one of them. But what if Columbus had never set foot in the New World? Who would have discovered the continent? The Vikings? The Chinese? Or perhaps another power? Would the discovery of America have happened in a completely different way? First of all, long before Columbus, a group had already reached the Americas: the Vikings. Around the year 1000, led by Leif Erikson, the Vikings set sail from Greenland and reached the shores of what is now Canada. They attempted to establish a settlement in a place they called Vinland, but they couldn't stay permanently. Could the Vikings have returned? That seems unlikely. By that time, their influence in Europe was waning, and they lacked the population needed for long-term colonization. However, if a strong and expansionist Norse kingdom had emerged, North America might have been filled with Viking colonies. Another possibility is the Chinese. In the 15th century, the Ming dynasty had one of the largest exploration fleets in history. Under the command of Admiral Zheng He, massive ships reached as far as the coast of Africa. However, in the 1430s, the Chinese government decided to halt these explorations and closed itself off from the outside world. If this decision had not been made, it is entirely possible that the Chinese could have reached the western shores of America via the Pacific Ocean. In such a scenario, instead of Spanish or English dominance, the western coast of America might have been colonized by the Chinese. Perhaps today, instead of English or Spanish, Mandarin would be the dominant language in the Americas. The Ottomans and other Muslim navigators were also advanced in seafaring. Maps created by Piri Reis in the 16th century indicate that they were aware of the existence of America. However, the Ottoman Empire focused on the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and the Indian Ocean rather than venturing into the open ocean. If the Ottomans had prioritized Atlantic exploration instead of Indian Ocean trade, could they have established colonies in America? Possibly, but given the empire's economic and political priorities, this seems like a less likely scenario. On the other hand, even if Columbus had never set sail, the discovery of America would likely have only been delayed, not prevented. By the late 15th century, Europe was undergoing a major era of exploration and expansion. Portugal, England, and France were also searching for new trade routes. Even if Columbus had not made his famous voyage, another European explorer would likely have discovered the continent within a few decades. Perhaps that person would have been an English or French navigator instead of a Spanish one. How would history have changed if another power had discovered America? First, language, culture, and religion might have developed very differently. For example, if the Chinese had colonized America, the continent might have become part of the Eastern world rather than the Western world. Trade routes would have evolved in new ways, and the Industrial Revolution in Europe might have been delayed. European powers grew rapidly by exploiting America's vast gold and silver resources. If the Chinese or the Vikings had established dominance instead, the trajectory of world history could have taken a completely different turn. In conclusion, even if Christopher Columbus had not discovered America, the continent would eventually have been found. The question was who would have discovered it and when. The Vikings failed to establish a lasting presence, the Chinese abandoned their explorations, and the Ottomans focused on other regions. Most likely, America would still have been discovered by a European explorer, but perhaps a few decades later, and with a different fate for the continent. What do you think? How different would America be if Columbus had never made his journey? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.